Welcome to the Houston Clutter Coaching December Meetup group. Tonight we're going to talk about endings and beginnings, making room for new possibilities. Welcome to the Nature Discovery Center in Bel Air, Texas. That's where we're doing our event today, where we always do our event, actually. Thank you to them for letting us have this great space. I have an extra helper tonight. Say hi, Ann.
Hi.
Ann is substituting for Ed tonight. She's been roped in to be the camera wrangler, so thank you so much for that. So, contact email. Okay, so that email address up there sends questions to me, but because we're recording, you'll just be sending them after the fact, which I'm happy to answer. You can also go to the YouTube channel and see previous meetups are recorded there. And you can also ask me questions from the video. So once the video's on YouTube, you can go in and type questions in, and eventually I'll see the notice and answer you. I'm not usually super Johnny on the spot about that because I'm not watching YouTube all day. So I'm actually in people's houses most of the time. That's what I do for a living. Okay, so we are going to talk about, it's the end of the year kind of topic. This is the time of year when everybody decides, I need to review my life, right? There's something about coming to the end of the year that makes you go, okay, the year went by, I didn't get anything done. What happened to all those great ideas that I had, blah, blah, right? And it's also the time when people start to do their planning for the new year. Like, what are my New Year's resolutions? What am I going to do in 2015 that I blew off in 2014? Or what has gotten different in my life that I'm ready to do something new now, right? An important part of that review is to look at your space, to see whether the space that you are living in is supporting the life that you want, or it's getting in the way of the life that you want, right? Clutter can prevent you from doing things that you want to do. And people don't realize that very consciously. Like, it's getting in the way of you being able to do the simplest things in the house, and it prevents you from making choices, right? One of the first things that it can do is keep you from your family. Maybe it keeps your family from coming over as often as you want. If it's really extreme, kids don't let the grandkids go see the grandparents because they don't feel like the house is safe, for instance. So that clutter in the house that you sort of ignore creates a barrier between you and your family, right? It can get in the way of relaxing and rejuvenating. Like the idea you come home and that's your safe space. That's where you're supposed to feel calm and peaceful and get a good night's rest and be relaxing and chilling in whatever way makes you happy. And if the house is stressful to you, then you're not getting to come home and get the benefit of that rejuvenation at night or on the weekends or whatever. People tell me when I go to work with them, this house stresses me out. I hear some version of this house stresses me out all the time. They come home and it yells at them in their head, like, clean me up, clean me up, clean me up, right? This is a wreck. Why is this a wreck? I should be doing fill in the blank related to the house. And so there's a big stress level that goes with having the house be out of control. And so instead of being rejuvenating, it's basically negatively impacting your, safety and well-being, right? So clutter messes with your social life. Even mild disarray can prevent you from inviting people over to visit. So some people, I think that socially with friends, it's the first thing that people lose as they feel like their house is starting to get out of control. Because it's the quickest thing that you're afraid to let people do. Like, I can't let my friend come over to the house and see how bad it is, how bad I think it is. Even if it's not really bad. I had a client who described her garage as squalor. And it was a little pile in the corner of the garage. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. I just laughed when I went in there and she said, come look at my squalor. And I opened the door and I was like, what? You're kidding, right? She's like, no, it's just squalor, right? But in her mind, that little pile was a super embarrassing thing that she was unwilling to let anybody else see. So it doesn't really matter whether it's actually a wreck or not, it's how you perceive that it is. And sacrificing your interaction with friends is one of the first things that happens when people start to feel like the space isn't comfortable or welcoming or appropriate to have your friends over, right? And so it's a real isolating thing. As you cut off your, the family's probably the last that you cut off, but you cut off your friends first. And so as you cut off your friends, the clutter is impacting your isolation, right? It's increasing your isolation and taking away something really rich and wonderful about friendships and what it's like to hang out with your friends and the times that you spend together laughing and the joy that you get from all that interaction. When you sacrifice those events that make that stuff happen, you're taking some of the richness out of your life. And that's a result of you deciding, my house is too ugly for people to see. And the sacrifice that you make is all this wonderful interaction that you don't get to have. And that's sad. It can prevent you from participating in your favorite hobby. I have a lot of art clients who say to me, my art studio is a wreck and I can't even bear to go in there. And so I don't have a creative thought in my head. It's completely shuts me down. I don't even, I can't even think about doing my hobby. I can't even think about doing my art. It's just completely making a mess. And I think that for people that are super creative, not being able to be creative is a real loss, right? She's an artist. She knows what I'm talking about. You sacrifice the enjoyment that you get out of creating something in whatever your method is because you can't get in the room. And people that are super creative there are creative people that find the chaos stimulating, and then there's always a place where you cross over from it stops being stimulating and it starts being mind-numbing. You can't find anything, you can't clear anything out, you can't find the supplies you want, it's like it turns off your creative brain at some point. There are people that exist in that chaos and find that super stimulating, but it's not every creative type is like that. And even those who are super creative have a threshold at which it starts to go white noise in your head and it just turns off every creative juice you ever thought you had, and then you're not having fun. And I like to bead. I'm a beader. This is my fun time. And if I wasn't able to do that, even once a month I have enough time to go and hang out with my friends and bead. I go to a retreat a couple times a year, but if I wasn't able to do that, I would be grumpy. And people who are creative, having that hobby stripped out of their life, it's a big loss. It's a lot to give up. We don't give it much thought, but the condition of the house really detracts from the richness and the joy in your life. Not because a clean house makes you joyful, but because a cluttered house gets in the way of the other fun things that you want to be able to do, right? The other parts of your life that do bring you joy and do bring you richness. So I have a list of questions, and I want to read them out and talk to you about them a little bit as a way of reviewing and maybe examining how you could see it different or plan for the future. Let's just talk through a few questions and see how your space rates on the scale of, is it comfortable, is it helping me, is it supporting the life that I want, or is it detracting from the life that I want? If you come up with some, the answers may tell you things that you can plan for 2015 to do, depending on what the answer to the question is. Question number 1. Can you cook a meal whenever you want with plenty of workspace? Show of hands. Yeah? Yeah, there's some like this, and yeah. Okay, so I'm not a big cook, but people that do like to cook, you got to have a clear, it's no different than being creative with food. It's no different than being creative in another hobby, right? You got to have a workspace, you got to have access to your tools, you got to be able to find your supplies, right? Or the food doesn't come out. So being able to easily feed yourself, being able to enjoy cooking if it's something that you like to do, this is a reasonable goal, right? It supports your life. Everybody needs to eat. But it's also, if it's a way that you feel creative or you express love to your family, it's a good thing. It's a good way for you to experience that transfer of love, I guess is the best way to say it. Have you participated in your favorite hobby this year as much as you'd have liked? Yes, no? No? No hands. Nobody did. Nobody participated in their hobby as much as they liked. She did.
Well, almost.
Oh, almost. Okay, so that's like a dead room right now. Let me just say, nobody did it as much. Okay, so that is a huge red flag now. If you have a hobby and you're not getting to play, then you are, you know, she's waving her hand. Well, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I was going to wait till you're finished.
Oh.
I never thought, what if shopping is your favorite hobby and that contributes to
I can always count on you,
Probably
Beth.
not the only one in that category.
Okay, so Beth says shopping is her favorite hobby, and so that's kind of contributing. Yes. Okay, so I don't know what to answer that. It is a hobby, but it's not the stuff that's the hobby. It's the act of going through the store, right? It's like selecting things, and it isn't the stuff coming home that's the fun part. It's the
That's
being
part of it.
in the stores and
But it's fun in the moment.
yeah.
And it's fun by myself, but also it's social. Like I'll do it with good friends or with my mom.
Right.
So I associate it with
Fun.
those special people in my life too.
Okay.
Or it's just fun by myself. It's just kind of a retreat. And I'm kind of in my element when I'm shopping.
Right. So I think for you, the idea is to have the experience without a huge haul at the end. You know, like how to be entertained without coming home with a carload. Come home with a little bit.
That's one of the good things about being a beater.
Yes, beads are very
What?
small. Elena's also a beater, and she said it's a good thing. That's one of the good things about being a beater. Beads are really, really small, and you can own a whole lot of them, and they don't take up very much space. Unlike the glass studio, where the pieces of glass are, you know, like this big. We're talking about little tubes of beads, and you know, I can cram a lot of beads in a small space. Let me tell you. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold today. Okay, next question. Could you host overnight visitors and offer them breakfast in the morning? Right? About half the room. Okay, so that's another way where it's fun to have visitors. You want people to be able to come over and hang. You want, you know, some relative to come visit you. You want your best friend from college to come and hang out and stay. But they have to have some place to sleep, and you got to be able to offer them coffee in the morning. Or a croissant or something, right? So if you don't feel comfortable about that, what you're losing is the interaction with your friend, the fun that you would have if somebody was coming to stay with you, right? Okay. Can you get ready for work in the morning with ease? Everybody, raise your hand. About half. See, that's you know, if it's hard, I'm not a morning person. I'm a night person. So when I have to get up in the morning and get out the door, anything that gets in the way of that is bad. Because my fuse is about this long in the morning, right? Like it's really hard for me to I'm much less flexible in the morning than I am much later in the day. So I need to do the least amount possible in the morning. So I do a whole lot of prep at night, the night before, right? And if my space was really crowded and busy and it was really hard for me to find where's the scrubs I'm wearing today, where's, you know, I need a towel to take a shower, where's my socks, you know. If that stuff was hard and I couldn't do it sort of unconsciously, I would be in big trouble. I would be late everywhere that I go. So being able to easily and quickly get ready for work is a way for you to start your day without a lot of stress, right? And it's helpful to ease into your day without, you know, big alarm bells going off, right? So making your bedroom and bathroom function so that you can get dressed in the morning and get out the door on time is a way that you can enhance your life, right? Would you be willing to invite friends over for dinner? Yeah, there's a whole lot of no in here on that one. Okay, so this is another way. If you're not willing to have friends over for dinner, you don't get to hang out with your friends, right?
We just go elsewhere.
Well, yeah, you go elsewhere, right? But there's something to be said for, you know, what you do in your own living room with your friends that's different than what you do at the Mexican restaurant with your friends, right? It's a different kind of, it's a different level of interaction. And it's, it's part of the fun of having, building relationships and having friendships and having the reward of having them. It's being able to interact with your friends. This is a good one. Is your home safe and easy to navigate in the dark? Some yeses, yeah, I got some no's like that. So the reason I say that is for twofold. Some of us are older, and we have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the restroom. We don't want to die on that trip. We want to be able to stumble in our half-sleepy state and make it to the toilet and back again without, tripping. We also live in Houston, so we have a hurricane season here. We've all experienced the electricity goes out in the big storm. And then you're plunged in darkness and you have to go find your hurricane supplies. Where's the candle and the matches? She's got her flashlight on her keychain. Where's the, automatic flashlight, whatever. You have to be able to navigate in your house sometimes in the dark. And you don't want to die on the trip, right? So you want it to be safe, and the older you get, and the more, less flexible that you get, right? Let me just say it that way. The more important it is for those paths to be clear to navigate. I tripped over the dog in the dark, like an idiot. And, I can blame the dog, but I know the dog, and I live with the dog, and I know that the dog's going to get in the way, and I have to pay attention, and I was not paying attention. It's the same about the house. You want to be able to move around and be safe in the house, and so having the house be clutter-free so that you can get to the bathroom, so that you can get to the hurricane supplies, so you can respond when somebody else in the house, when the little kid cries, you got to be able to get down the hall to the little kid, right? When the house is on fire, you got to be able to get out. So having the house be navigatable is important to your, safety and well-being, and, your hospital bills, right? This is a fun one. Can you find your passport quickly, say in 3 minutes? I got 4 yeses, and I got 5 yeses and a bunch of no's.
And a bunch of anxiety thinking about it.
I had a lot of anxiety thinking about it.
Done it so many times.
So the reason I say that, passport represents going on a trip, right? You want to be able to go on a trip, and you don't want to have to lose your mind trying to find the passport. You want to be able to go, I know where the passport is, and go put your hand on it because I'm going on a trip. I'm going to Mexico, or whatever. You want to go have fun, you got to be able to find the passport. Sometimes you got to have the passport, for, I don't know, voting registration. It's a form of ID. You got to put your hand on it for whatever reason. There's all sorts of applications and things. You have to send a copy of your passport in. And so being able to put your hand on it, it's like one of those business legal documents that is part of your life and your presence on the planet. And being able to find those, the passport, the birth certificate, the divorce decree. The divorce decree is surprisingly required in the weirdest places at the weirdest times way after the divorce is over. People have to come up with one 10 years down the road because they're applying for a loan and they have to prove that they're divorced. And you think it's okay, they're divorced and he's gone and we're done. Yeah. No. People are going to ask you for that weird document later in life. So you got to be able to put your hand on it. Yes, ma'am.
I just started a new job recently, and they asked for an original copy of a Social Security card. And I know I have one somewhere, but I didn't know exactly where, okay?
Oh.
So I could not locate it, so I had to spend half a day at the Social Security office. And then I found my other card after the fact, but it was a reminder to me, you're not as organized as you need to be.
Right?
And it was one of those moments that really got my attention.
Right?
Because it was such a waste of time.
She needed to find this original Social Security card when she went to her new job. And she couldn't find it, so then she spent half a day at Social Security only to find the original later. Which is it's like a little goose, isn't it?
Okay, Shannon, one of my best friends, said, "Oh, is it with your passport? Because I lost my passport." It's like there's people that know you. It's them,
But that's a simple thing. You got a new job. It's awesome. I have a new job. And the HR person goes, yeah, where's your Social Security card? And you're like, I don't know. And then you're scrambling because, you want to show up to the new job and have them, keep you.
I know. Copy. She's, no, we need the original.
We need the original. I was like, oh. And you know, I'm sure that's Homeland Security, blah, blah, blah. They want to make sure that you're not using somebody else's. But nonetheless, the little thing, it's only this big. You know, it's a little annoying card, it's only this big. So it requires intervention. And one of the things that I do when I found a lot, in the course of my work, I found lots of little Social Security cards in weird, stupid places. Because it's like a little bitty paper card, it's only this big. And I pull out mail from 15 years ago, and I'm sorting the mail, I'm throwing envelopes away, and here the Social Security card goes by. I'm like, what? What is that doing in here? Oh my God! So, I tend to put them in a Ziploc, because that makes their footprint bigger, and they don't slide out of files as easily. And then I put them in a file with the passport and the birth certificate and the yada, 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 yada. And it's a file that you can go put your hand on and run. It's got to have sides so that you can grab it and go.
Clutter
Yes, ma'am.
Fairy, may I make a suggestion?
Yes, you may.
Take your Social Security card to Kinko's and have it laminated. It will last forever. You may not think you'll live a long time, but you will.
So she's suggesting laminate the Social Security card. So I would laminate it, and then I would put it in a Ziploc, because it's not going to make the footprint of it any bigger. It's still going to be this little card. So I would still put it in some kind of Ziploc that goes into a file, so that it's harder for the sandwich bag or the snack bag to disappear and get lost in amongst stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little bulkier than just the single little paper card itself. Wow, we got off on that one. That was a good one. Yes, ma'am.
I think you should clarify that because I'm not sure that you really can do that.
What? Laminate?
Laminate.
Oh.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it
you
might
can laminate it, but
It
I
might
don't
invalidate
think it
it.
counts as an original anymore. Is it?
Oh.
So maybe you could follow up with the.
Okay, well, we'll look into that and make
That's an important
sure.
distinction.
That's a very important distinction. Does it still count as original if it's been laminated? All right.
Yeah.
We'll check it out. We'll find out.
Just
Okay, here's the next question. Can you get into every room in your house
does it?
and move around easily?
No.
What if you can't? That's really scary. Only.
Get into every.
What's the question?
Oh,
Get
get
into
into
every
every
room.
Yeah, if you can't, if you, these people who stack up, keep all that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'm doing a project like this. There's a reason why this question got on here. I'm doing a hoarding project right now. If anybody's been looking at my Clutter Fairy page, I've been posting the pictures of the progress as we go along. And this house, when we originally, it's I found out today it's 750 square feet. Like it's this big. It's like this big, literally. It's just a little apartment this big. But when we opened the front door, it was a mountain that went like this and had a little valley in the bottom and went back, but the valley was about this much off the floor.
Is that where they slept?
No, that was just in the living room. I haven't been able to get back to the bedroom yet. Like we've gone across the living room and into the dining and the kitchen. We just started the front edge of the bathroom today, and I haven't. The bedroom looks the same. It's a mountain,
But can you
and
get to
around the
bedroom?
corner there's like a little trail, huh?
Do they sleep in this?
Well, she's not there now. That's part of the. She's in skilled nursing. She's being treated for an illness, and so she's not there. But she was in there before. And the ambulance that came to take her away took her out the window. She was in the bedroom, and they came in and around and followed the trail, and then they took her out the window
Oh, wow.
because they couldn't get back around with the gurney stretcher. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you go to see those pictures?
Oh, Clutter Fairy, the Clutter Fairy Facebook page.
Clutter Fairy Facebook page.
Yes. So there's two Clutter Fairies on Facebook.
Okay.
One of them is Clutter Fairy UK. Hi, Clutter Fairy in UK. She's a very lovely woman, but she is actually in England. And mine is The Clutter Fairy. So if you go Facebook/The Clutter Fairy, you get me. Or if you manage to get my personal page,
Facebook.
yeah, / The Clutter Fairy. You can just search for
That-
The Clutter Fairy, and you'll see a couple of them. And the one that's mine, hers has a little flower, and the one that's mine has a hand with a little wand.
Okay.
So you'll be able to tell if you click in the wrong one, there won't be pictures.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I just looked up real quick about the Social Security. It said do not laminate it.
Ooh.
They said because it's important security features. But usually put it in a plastic bag. But one guy said he didn't have no problems for years, and then this other person, when they went for a job, though, they said they had to go back and get a new one.
Ooh, okay. Well, so I guess if you're retired, it doesn't matter.
Maybe people are retired.
Right.
I'm retired, already filed for Social Security and got Social Security. so Homeland Security can come get me.
Well, there you go.
Well, and I'd like to piggyback onto her comment in that,
Thank you for looking that up.
Up until about 8 years ago, our family, somebody in our family gifted us these, silver metal social security cards, so they were verbatim, and I would use those for every job and no one would bat an eye, but about 8 or 10 years ago, they said, no, we need
Gotta do the paper. There you
Just
go.
evolved.
Yeah, they're a little sticky now that the towers fell. They have issues. Well, okay, so we got the answer. Not supposed to laminate it, but she doesn't care because she's already retired,
You burned it.
right? Okay, are you able to park a car in the garage?
One. One, but not two.
That was an awesome response. So everybody says one, but not two, but a lot of no's, right?
There's a
It took
lot
me
of
4
two-car
years to
garages
get
that
one.
never fit.
I know, they never have 2 cars in them, right?
They just don't fit.
Right. So here's my tale about this. My 77-year-old mother lives in North Carolina, and when she moved into this house, of course, just like all the movers, right, they put as much as they can in the house and everything goes, we'll put the rest in the garage. So she put the rest in the garage, and then she spent, 7 or 8 years not parking a car in the garage. So she's getting out of the car in the snow and the ice and walking from her car across the driveway and up the sidewalk to the front door. And I'm like, oh my God, Mother, you're killing me. You're going to fall on the ice and break your hip. Like, what in the world are you thinking? So I started, every Christmas when I went up there, it's like, we were going to clean the garage, and she finally let me clean the garage. And so now she can park her car in there, and she has a little tennis ball, so she knows where she doesn't run into the wall, And when she was finally able to pull into the garage and use the clicker to make the door open and pull the garage in, and now she's not walking on the ice, she's not walking in the snow, it's easy to unload the car, she was thrilled. I mean, she lived with it for a long time without, and listened to me complain, Mother, you're scaring me, Mother, you're scaring me, please stop doing that. And we finally fixed it, and now I don't worry about her walking on the ice. She goes off to see her friends, and she comes home at 9 o'clock at night. It's dark, and the temperature is plummeted, and it's 25 degrees, and there's ice all over the driveway. Well, it doesn't matter because she's not getting in it. Makes me super happy. The thing about it is, in the Houston equivalent, is it's hot from April until September, right? And it really peaks in August, right? When you're scorching. And so if you can't get your car in the garage, you're roasting. Every time you come out of the house and you open the door, it's like, I'm now going to step into the sauna or the oven and close the door and try not to melt while I get my superpowered AC on and try to, bring the temperature down 30 degrees, right? So this is the Houston equivalent of this. And if you can park your car in the garage, surprise, your car isn't super hot when you get in it. And this is a lovely thing, right? So, yes, it's a pain in the patootie to clean the garage, but the benefit to your daily life is pretty fabulous. Like the temperature in the car is only 80 instead of 135 when you get into it, right? This is a good thing. Here's the last one. When you look around your house, does it make you feel comfortable, peaceful, happy?
Not yet.
Okay.
It has the potential.
It has the potential. Okay, that's good. That's positive. So the reason I say that is because a lot of times when I'm doing work with people, we clean an area, and the first response I get is, oh my God, this is so peaceful. It's so calm. I'm so, wow, it's not yelling at me anymore. It's very, you don't realize how noisy the clutter is until it's a blank wall instead, and it's not going at you. It's so much less stressful. It's so much calmer. We put a lot of energy into going la 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 la. I don't see that, I don't see that, I don't see that, I don't see that. And then when you don't have to do that anymore, it's like, wow, I can be all cool now, right? It's very relieving when you don't have to be making that little, blah, 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 blah noise anymore, trying to ignore the chaos. So that is something that brings you stress relief. And it's the idea that Being in your house should be relaxing and rejuvenating. It should be peaceful to you. It should make you feel comfortable and safe and warm and happy. This is what I want for you. This is what we're aiming for, right? Okay, so don't let negative answers make you feel like a failure. Instead, use them to pinpoint outcomes that you'd like to plan for. It's a whole lot easier to say, instead of saying, in 2015, I want to get my house organized. I get all these calls in January. Gayle, I just need to get my house organized. Yeah, that's a really big goal. Let's narrow it down, okay? Because that is the universe that you never get to the end of, right? You conceive of, I just have to get organized. But that means so many things at once. It's really hard to get to some level of achievement, to feel like you got to the end of the goal. It's a lot easier to say, I want to be able to have my friends over for dinner. So that means that the goal is, I want to get my dining room and my kitchen together so that I can have people over for dinner. I want to be able to park the car in the garage. So my goal is to clean out the garage so that I can get my car in it. That's a concrete goal that is much more easy to focus on, and it's reward defined. You see what I'm saying? Getting organized, I need to get organized, has all this sort of judgment to it. Like, I suck, I'm a failure, I can't do this, I gotta get organized, my life is out of control, I gotta get organized. And I hear some version of that speech when people call me in January. My life is out of control, I need to get organized. Okay, but let's focus on what you're gonna get out of it instead. Because it's a whole lot more exciting to go, I'm gonna park the car in the garage in August and it's not gonna be hot. Every day when I go to work, it's gonna be wonderful. Instead of 130 degrees, it's gonna be 80. Woo! That's a good thing, right? So use those questions to help you decide what is the thing that is most annoying to you. And this is the question I ask everybody. They always say, where are we gonna start? And I always say, what's bugging the hell out of you? What makes you insane every day? Is it the bathroom? Is it the kitchen? Is it this pile of shrapnel in the living room? What annoys you the most? That's the thing you should tackle. Because it'll be a great reward.
What if it's every single room?
She says, what if it's every single room? And I say, then you get to pick one. Then you can pick based on other criteria. Like if the whole place bothers you, then you can say, so if I clean this room, then I'd be able to, it'd be easy for me to make coffee in the morning. And if I clean that room, it'll be easy for me to get dressed in the morning. And you know, you can just pick which one sounds like more fun to have first. Which one seems more accomplishable? Maybe you're not really good with paper. And so the idea of cleaning the office is like, that's like samurai work, right? You have to be expert, expert organizer to do paper, right? So don't start with the paper. Start with the one that feels like you can climb on. The ones that you can get through and get to the other end. Maybe it's old stuff that you don't have any investment anymore. Maybe the old stuff is your mom's and your mom has passed away and that's too hard for you. You need a partner for that. So go do the kitchen. You know, find the thing that is the least annoying and the least interrupting. The one that doesn't trigger you. You see what I'm saying? It causes you less anxiety and distress to do it. And start with that one. And, you know, all of it's practice, right? So if you pick one that's easier for you to do, you get to the end and go, da-da-da-da, happy dance, I got it done, da-da-da-da-da-da. And it will help you feel like a samurai organizer. You just have to get practice, right? Yes, ma'am.
I did the hall closet and the linen closet, because there's no emotion in towels and jackets.
In towels and jackets, right? Perfect.
I beg to differ.
Okay, so Ann says towels and jackets are not a problem,
Okay, the
and
letter
you say
jackets
not
stayed.
true, right? Okay, so what's hard about it for you? Why is that hard? It's because it's clothes?
You know, there's the good towels and the medium towels and
No
the
good
brand new towels and the,
I know.
you know, the ones I don't care about.
The holiday towels.
Yeah.
I know what I like best, you know, and I have all these categories. It's hard for me to let go if something's still in good working condition. Like,
Right.
it's mediocre and I don't love it, but I'm hesitant to just give it away.
Okay, so that's a good thing to talk about. So she's basically saying, we're using the towels as an example, right? So in the example of the towels, there's the wonderful towels, there's the good towels, there's the mediocre towels, and the towels I don't care about. So those are the categories, but they're all still useful as towels. So she's saying that it's hard to get rid of the towels you don't care about, or the mediocre towels, because they still actually have life to them. So then the question becomes, in order to not give up mediocre and I don't care, what are you surrendering in your house to keep them? Space,
so things
access,
overflow and,
right? So you can't get to the good towels and the great towels easily. You can't get them out and put them away easily because there's twice as much and half of it you don't care about, right? So you're surrendering, yes, it's still useful, but I can't give it up. Therefore, I'm going to keep them so that they can continue to be in the way in the ones that I like, right? You see the logic there? I get it. Useful is important. But like I say to artists, while all things could become a part of art, you don't have to be the purveyor of every art piece in the universe, right? You don't have to be the one that keeps all of the useful towels in the universe. Someone else can find the use somewhere else. Yeah, she's giving me a skeptical look. Let me just say, I'm not getting compliance here. I'm not getting agreement. I know.
I've been donating things, but it's like, oh, you know.
I think.
But hold on. Do you feel later after you donate them that do you feel a loss of the stuff?
Not particularly. I feel good.
Okay, so
But
you
it's
feel
hard-
okay about
It's
it.
hard to surrender, but once I do, I'm okay.
All right, well that's good. So keep going. Just keep
I know
practicing,
myself.
right? And that's okay. If you can feel the hesitation and still donate, that's a win, sister. You go.
I'm not quite there yet.
Well, just keep practicing though.
Yeah.
We'll bring our towels next time.
One of the things that I do if I have
That's okay. Go ahead.
if I have older or ratty towels is I'll cut them up and make them into racks, because I do have a housekeeper that comes every 2 weeks, and a lot of people complain that she doesn't do it. She clears a lot of it so that I can at least see the floor, and I'm happy with that. So I will take the old towels and just cut them up and give them to her as rags. And so she can use them and then throw them away, or maybe launder, whatever she wants to do with them. But I still use them.
Okay, so she's going another step and saving them as rags, and so then the question becomes, do you have more rags stored than she can keep up with? So that'd be the first thing that I would test in your house. Like, okay, do you open the door and a bunch of rags bark out?
It's in her closet. It's in where the housekeeper is.
Oh, it's in the housekeeper's closet, so it barks on the housekeeper.
Yes. So
Awesome, okay.
If she wants to throw them away after that, that's fine.
Okay, so
And I
you're delegating them to the housekeeper to throw away, and you're going la 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 while she does.
Right.
Okay, I got it. Okay, you're next.
I came on the back end. So what did you say about the towels? I had that problem too. You gave them 3 categories.
Oh, Beth made up in her head that they were super great and mediocre and I don't care
Okay.
towels, and she's having trouble getting rid of the lower 2. But it's
They're
really
not so great I can get rid of. It's the things that are still okay, that I like, but don't love. The not so good, I've no problem surrendering.
That's good.
The stuff that I'm getting rid of.
Right,
That's the
okay.
You know
And
what?
whether it's clothes or whatever.
You
Right.
know what I've done, and I don't know how great. Cause I was just talking to somebody at work. Cause how many people in your household?
Just me.
Okay, so that's good actually. So it's 4 of us. So what I did, each kid got, like the boy got blue, the girl got whatever color she wanted, and then I got my color. And so I actually got rid of. I went through and kept the ones that were halfway decent towels. I put like in the guest bathroom, and then I just quickly put in the bag and I donated. So I'm like that too. I do have.
but the lesson here to speak about is
So,
really
you
that
only have your color.
whatever. Yeah, so she gave every person a separate color. And then, the good towels that were left over went to the guest room, and then everything else went away. So it isn't that there's a specific way to do it. It's just learning to create a scale. And the stuff on this end of the scale you're willing to keep, and the stuff on this end of the scale you're willing to let go of. Because in order to have access to these and have it be easy in and out, that's part of it. Like there's got to be some air around the linens, or they fall on the ground, right? Like it's got to be easy to fold it up and put it away or take it out. And if it's not, it slows you down and gets in the way, right? That's true with clothes and china and, shoes and whatever. in order for this stuff to be useful, you have to be able to get to it, and it has to be easy when it comes out of the laundry, when it comes out of the dishwasher, when it comes off, whatever, to put it away. So we're having this discussion about towels, but it really applies to everything, right?
Yeah,
The
glasses.
the trick is, lay it on the scale, the gradation, and this is truly how I say this to artists is, everything in the universe can be a piece of art, can become part of a piece of art to an artist. Artists see creativity in the craziest things. Rusty hardware and leftover plastic can become a part of art, right? So then artists can't throw anything away because they can see the potential in all things, right? So on the scale of potential for an artist, there's the projects that you're dying to do right now and the ones that seem like they'd be fun maybe someday. But the thing about it is there's always new stuff coming in that could be part of a project. And some of this stuff on this end of the scale is never going to come to the top of the list. Because you have all these projects to do that are super fabulous and make you go so, woo, all excited. And there's going to be more that come into that category over your lifetime, right? So these are never going to come to the top of the list. So you might as well carve these out and put them, on the river of stuff. So some artists that will think they're cool will pick them up. And that concept applies to anything. I tell it that way for artists because they do see the potential in every single thing. And they have to get that of the 100% of projects that they're saving stuff for, 50% of them make them do the happy dance and 50% of them are just like, yeah, that'd be cool. And they know from their own creative experience that these are the ones they're going to work on and these are never going to come to the top of the list. And so these are the towels that you're going to play with, and these are never going to come out of the cabinet, even though they're still useful, right? These are the clothes you're going to wear. These are the clothes that are never going to see the light of day. Yes, you can wear them. Yes, they still fit. Yes, they're okay, but they're never going to come out of the closet because you're going to be picking from this stuff because you love this stuff, right? So draw the line and let this stuff go to somebody else who will do the happy dance about it. That's the basic Clutter Fairy scale of stuff. I just made that up.
Very good. It's good.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, absolutely.
On those towels you're not really thrilled about, if you like children or animals, take it down to a local vet and donate it to a local vet. The animals don't care. The ASPCA will take the towels.
I do that with all the client towels that come out.
Lover.
Yeah, I mean, I take them to my local vet, and they use them in the cages, they use them in surgery, and there's some point where they've been destroyed and they get thrown out. So they're constantly turning towels like that all the time. It's like any vet, anybody that's doing vet surgery, the ASPCA, SNAP, they will all take towels. Now, the super fancy ones probably wouldn't take them. But the leftover sheets and towels and blankets, absolutely. Super fancy ones I take to Goodwill. Could it go on somebody else's bed and look nice?
Might.
Yeah. If it's stained or if it's the elastic on the topper doesn't work anymore, or that you don't have the matching piece or whatever, then the pillowcases, it all goes to the vet.
And cover my plants with them.
And there you go.
Yeah. Then you gotta.
I'm not that
store
much of a
them.
gardener. Okay, so ask yourself, what's the most acute loss you feel as a result of the clutter?
Time.
Do you miss your friends or cooking dinner for your family? Maybe you've lost touch with the creative juices. We talked about that. And find yourself stalled on the project. Do you find yourself stumbling to the bathroom at night? Well, yes. But that's not really because of the clutter. Does it drive you crazy to get in the scorching hot car? Right? Whatever bugs you every day is the perfect organizing project to plan for 2015. Won't you be excited when you clear your kitchen and your dining room and you can have your friends over for dinner? Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say, you were talking about problems that it can cause. It caused a problem in a relationship, an intimate relationship.
Ah, okay. Are you going to share about that?
Not the
A little
intimate details.
No, I'm not,
No,
I'm asking for a broader explanation of how it impacted your intimate relationship.
This is just one example, but he was in my kitchen and there was little to no counter space. And then we went over to my parents later that day, and so he was drawing a comparison. And he was like spreading out his arms on the countertop in my parents' house, and he's like, "Isn't this nice?" And
It made you feel bad.
it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't being particularly mean. It hurt my feelings, kind of sensitive about it. He was right. I agreed with him, but I'm having a hard time getting to that place. You know?
Well, and here's the thing. This is no different than talking to somebody about weight loss. When you're talking to somebody that has cluttered space, it isn't like they haven't figured out they have clutter. It is not my job to go, this is really cluttered here. Have you noticed that? That is not what I'm being paid to do. I'm being paid to go, okay, here's our project. What do you want to do about it? Right? So he, in his inexpert way, was trying to be logical with you and say, see, isn't this better? Like, haven't you noticed that clear space is more easy to work in?
It's just
Like
And
he's
also
trying to
there was
help
a-
you see
and also
it.
there was a talk about us moving in together, and he's like, "I don't know if I want to move into this space." You know, so
There you go. Okay, so then, that clutter is a barrier for your continued
Yes.
evolution of your relationship because he didn't want to live in a cluttered space like that.
So we were.
That's a loss.
This
That's
place,
that's
which was a lot smaller, but it wasn't cluttered. My place was a lot bigger, but it was cluttered. But we spent more time there. You know.
because that was where he felt comfortable, right? Because it was above his threshold. Okay, so there you go. That's a loss. Thank you. And that's a big deal for you, right? Like if your relationship can't sort of move to the next level because he's anxious about this is too much clutter for me, and he's trying to coach you into clearing it up, getting over it so he can come over. Yeah, that's a problem, right? And it's impacting your life. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry that I'm sure he wasn't trying to be mean, but I'm sorry that he was inexpertly trying to point out something you very clearly already knew, and that would be painful and hurt your feelings, and I'm sorry. This is why we don't deal with, friends and family. This is why we call the professionals. Because it's not my job to shame you about your stuff, right? So, or any organizer. It's not the organizer's job to shame you about your stuff, and that's what you're paying for. You're paying for somebody to be kind and help you to solve the problem, not, poke at you. And that's what your family always does. Because they think they're being helpful, right? And they're not. Yes, ma'am.
I think to one of the questions, how does this space detract? And to kind of piggyback on relational issues, I had somebody, so I live in in my home, I have the master bedroom with the 2 sinks, 2 separate countertops with
Right.
all the space.
Right?
And the comment that I got was, there's no room for anyone else. And I mean, that's, a different,
Ooh.
but it detracts from, okay, maybe I do want somebody in my life, but maybe I haven't been open to that.
And the clutter in the house reflects that you're not really
I'm
open.
just talking about the bathroom alone.
Right, right.
A big bathroom, but 1 person, and there's no room for a second person.
Isn't that interesting? And that's very girly too. Like somehow when women and men cohabit, they go, this is my closet and this is your closet.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like, screw you. I need all this space for my clothes.
Right.
And
It's
we don't.
understood.
It's understood, right? But you don't realize that it is not welcoming. And it's not, jointly sharing, and it's not making someone feel like it's their space as well. So she's making the point that the loss is she's taken over the dual sinks in her bathroom, and so there's not really any space for somebody new in her life. Because there's, the bathroom says, "Psst, no room for you here," right?
If they want us to look nice, we have to have our makeup.
Okay, now I'm getting the girly justifications for using both sinks, right?
Well,
But I think it's a point that you're making. So you're making a choice that I want both sinks more than I want to share my space with somebody. That may be a life choice that you want to make. Like that may be okay with you, but it may not be. I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, it's going to be different for everybody, right? Like some people like, I'm alone. I want to be alone. This is my life. This is my space. Like my mother's not trying to get married, right? She's like, yeah, nobody's sleeping in my bed. That's sort of what she says. This is my bed. Everybody to get out of it except the cats, right? So, you know, that may be where you want to be, but that may be not where you're ready to be yet. That may be not what's happening for you. Okay. So who else can relate to the loss of things from clutter? Who else has a comment to make?
Just my time looking for things I can't find.
Right, that's a big one, right? When you can't find something and you have to spend, you know, half an hour running around going, is it? And you're trying all the places that you think might be, and then you don't find the Social Security card until 6 weeks later, right? It's really annoying, isn't it? And it cranks up the frustration level, right? As you're walking around the house, two things are happening. One, you're madly searching your brain, trying to remember where you saw it last. And like that's like a whole, like trying to, you know, rifle through the memory cards, right? And the other part of your head is going, you are such an idiot. I can't believe you lost where the hell did you put it? Why can't you? You're just such a wreck. So you're having this whole judgment conversation in your head while you're madly looking around for something, which, you know, amps up the stress level of trying to find what's missing. And that is really detrimental in 1,000 ways. It's hard to be happy when you're yelling at yourself all the time, right? I agree.
And also, when you need it right then and there, you end up with triplets and
Yes,
Oh, I was gonna say
yes.
that, yeah.
When you can't find something, then you need it right then, and then you end up with duplicates, triplets, quadruplets. Okay, so in the hoarder house, this is like the extreme example. One of the things that we found, I had to open the fridge, and let me just tell you, the staff that's been working with me was like, Gayle, we're not opening the fridge. You have to open the fridge. So I opened the fridge, and you know it was packed, and it took about 45 minutes to empty it. That's how full it was. And I kept pulling out for the carton of butter. There was like 12 4-packs of butter. 12 of them, all, and it's like every time she went to the store, she bought another 4-pack and shoved it in the fridge. And so there was just like millions of, it was that, and then, what was the other one that was like, we kept finding it over and over and over again.
Sour cream.
No, it was heavy cream. It was whipping cream. The little pint cartons. There was like 8 of those pint cartons of whipping cream in there.
It doesn't last that long.
I know. The stuff that was in there was from January. You know, we were like, okay, let's just hope none of it opens. We ran and ran and ran to the trash. Let me tell you, because. So the day that I wasn't there, I have to tell this story. She had I guess it was a carton of eggs that came in a grocery bag and had been sat on top of something, and it had never come out. And so somebody was over there starting to clean the dining room, and they touched the bag, and the egg exploded. Which apparently made a really gnarly smell. And you know, everybody, and it was loud. It was, you know, and so everybody was terrified first for a second, and then they realized what it was, and then it was a horrible smell, and they were all gagging. And then they tried to move it and bag it and another one exploded. So we basically gassed them out of the apartment that day. And I wasn't there, I was at another job, and so I missed, which is why I was assigned a refrigerator, because I missed the egg episode.
Payback.
Yeah, payback was, you're getting the fridge, Gayle. Okay, all right. So it wasn't as bad in the fridge as I thought it was going to be, but it was, you know, there was a lot of food in there, and it all had to go. So that was the microcosm of her issue in that fridge. There was 12 of everything. There was 20 of this. There was, the other thing that she has a million of is apparently she feels safe with Ziploc bags. So there's boxes of Ziploc bags, and we keep finding, we found them in the dining room, we found them in the living room, we found them in the pantry, we found them in a cabinet. We keep finding collections of Ziploc bag boxes everywhere, over and over and over and over again. We're at like, you know, 8 bottles of 409, which we're using madly. But it's the extreme example of what you're talking about. I can't find it, therefore I have to buy it again. And that has clearly been her way of existing in this place. So at some point, there's so much butter in the fridge, you can't close the door, right? At some point, there's so many clothes and towels, you can't close the door. You start surrendering living space. You start surrendering, you know, she was laying on the edge of the bed. There's a mound over my head that covers half the bed and up to the wall. And I can see vaguely that there's furniture behind the mound. But, you know, this is an extreme example of surrendering quality of life to stuff. And I know you guys aren't at that place, but it doesn't mean that you're suffering any less from having the stuff interfere with your life. And so, we want it to be different, right? We want you to envision, I want to have my friends over. I want to do my hobby. I want to be able to park my car in the garage. I want you to focus on those goals in 2015, and then let that project be what motivates you. The pretty picture, not the barking judgment picture. We want the, ooh, my car's going to be in the garage picture in our head while we work on the garage. Okay? Yes,
So
ma'am.
what do you do when, because it's okay if we're talking about individual stuff, but what about when you have mini hoarders? Your husband, wife, you know, the kids.
She calling out the family. Okay.
Because when they find a clean area, then they come there and so forth. So how do you tackle, that's my biggest goal. But one's about to graduate and I can't wait. We just don't have a clean house after she's gone.
Okay, so you're basically saying, how do you manage the house with all of the people in it? You clean an area and everybody comes to the clean area. What that says to you is that they're all dying for a clean space. If they all come to the clean area, then it's like they're all drowning and they won.
Destroys that area.
And she destroys it, right?
And her room is full of windows.
Okay, so she probably learned at, you know, her parents' needs.
Yeah.
And she will have a lifelong struggle to learn it differently. And maybe someday she'll be sitting here listening to me talk. But in the meantime, you can pack her up and send her to school and let her trash her roommate's room. And you can start cleaning yourself. And I think even in a household where nobody else is compliant, if you can just deal with the stuff that is your stuff.
Well, I stopped being in charge and that's what happened. I used to have charts and all that stuff. I just got so busy in life, you know, divorce, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of how.
The charts went out the window.
Yeah,
Alright, well.
they relaxed.
See?
But I do say I did get paid back on one child in college because her roommate was filthier than she was. And I feel bad. I was just to go,
You
oh.
live long enough to see it.
Right? Everybody has their threshold,
I
right?
bad for him. I just said, oh, okay.
That's hilarious.
I didn't add to it.
Well, but I think that the comment that I can make out of that story about what do you do with the rest of the people in the house is you focus on your stuff. You focus on what you can manage. You know, nobody that wants you to touch their paperwork, their stuff, right? But I'm guessing that you have plenty of your own stuff that you can work on. And if you do that, you can declare this is my zone, this is my space, this is my stuff, out, right? And sometimes, you know, that it rubs off on people. Sometimes by osmosis, they react, you know, they're really resistant. Like I'm working with one person and the spouse is like, shh, go away, don't touch my stuff, you can't come in my room, you know. They get real freaked out that one of them wants help and the other one's like, ah. But then we stay, okay, cool, we're staying away from your stuff. And we go clean out a room and the result is fabulous and then they're like, maybe that's not such a bad idea after all. You know, you get inspired when you're presented with an alternative look. And you will inspire yourself if you can do one space in a way that makes you feel good. If you can clear off the second bathroom and have a clean bathroom to look at. I got an email from a lady at France. Hi. She's been watching the videos and she told me that she was able to get rid of a computer that she had that she wasn't using anymore and the table that it was on. And it left a clear space in the room and she said on the post that she's just been standing with the clutter behind her looking at the clear space on the floor. So that she could admire the beautiful space. And I thought, that is awesome. That's taking inspiration, man. She made a clear space and now she's going, oh. And that's exactly what will happen. If you clear out a space, you will get the result. And it will be inspiring to you to keep going. And you don't have to do it all at once. You just have to do little bits at a time. But it can be done, and I want that for you. So, 2015, what are we going to do?
Clean it.
Clean it, go. But do it in a way that I want to have dinner, I want to park the car, I want to have a boyfriend. All right?
Have a boyfriend.
Focus on the positive result of all the nasty, ugly work. And then while you're doing the nasty, ugly work, you can say to yourself, boyfriend, 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 right? And it'll keep you going. And then if you get stuck, you know where to come. Come to the meetup, call me up. I am rooting for you. Okay?
Yay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.